Okay, so I'm going to say something that is going to sound completely irresponsible at first. Stop saving money. Like, actually stop putting money in a savings account and thinking that's your financial plan. Stop feeling responsible and smart because you've got a few $1,000s sitting in a bank account earning basically nothing. Stop treating saving like it's the finish line when it's not even close to the finish line. Now, before anyone closes this video thinking I've lost my mind, I'm not saying spend everything. I'm not saying be reckless. I'm not saying emergency funds don't matter, because they absolutely do. And we're going to talk about that. What I'm saying is that for millions of people, genuinely millions, saving money has become a substitute for building wealth. And those two things are not the same. They are not even close to the same. And confusing them is one of the most expensive financial mistakes a person can make over the course of their life. So this video is about why saving feels safe but isn't. Why the math of saving is actually working against you in a way most people don't realize. And exactly what you should be doing instead that will actually change your financial future in a real and meaningful way. Let's get into it, because I think it's important to understand why this mistake is so common before we talk about why it's a mistake. Saving money feels responsible. It feels prudent. It feels like the adult thing to do. Every message most of us got growing up about money was some version of spend less than you earn and put the rest away. Your parents probably said something like this. School probably reinforced it in whatever limited financial education it provided. The general cultural message around money is save, save, save. And look, that message comes from a good place. It's better than the alternative, which is spend everything and worry about tomorrow never. Saving is genuinely better than not saving. I want to be clear about that. But here's where the message breaks down. It stops at saving. It doesn't tell you what to do after saving. It doesn't explain that saving is step one of a longer process and that treating it like the whole process is going to leave you significantly worse off than you could be. And the result is that a huge number of people are doing the thing they were told to do, saving money, being responsible, putting it in the bank, and slowly, invisibly losing ground financially because of it. Okay, so here's the core mathematical problem with saving money in a traditional savings account. Inflation. Inflation is the rate at which the purchasing power of your money decreases over time. The dollar you have today buys less next year than it does right now. Not dramatically less, but consistently, reliably, every single year less. Historically, inflation in the US runs around 3% per year on average. Some years higher, we've seen that recently. Some years lower, but roughly 3% is a long-term average. Now, most savings accounts at major banks pay somewhere between 0.01% and maybe 0.5% interest. High yield savings accounts, the better option, pay somewhere around 4 to 5% right now, which is actually unusually high because of the interest rate environment. But historically, high yield savings accounts pay somewhere around 1 to 2%. So look, let's use a normal historical environment. Your savings account is paying you 1.5% interest. Inflation is running at 3%. Your real return, the return after inflation, is negative 1.5%. Your balance is going up, but your purchasing power is going down every single year. You are getting poorer in real terms while watching your savings account balance increase. And that is a genuinely cruel trick that the math plays on people who think saving is protecting them. The stock market historically returns around 10% per year on average. After inflation, that's roughly 7% real return. You're actually ahead of inflation by a meaningful margin. Your purchasing power is growing, not shrinking. That difference between losing 1.5% per year in real terms in a savings account versus gaining 7% per year in real terms in the market, like compounds over decades into an absolutely staggering gap. Let me show you what this actually looks like with real money over a real time period, because I think the abstract percentages don't fully communicate how dramatic this is. Let's say you have $50,000 and you're deciding what to do with it. Option A, you put it in a savings account earning 1.5% annually. After 30 years, your $50,000 becomes roughly $78,000. Sounds okay on the surface, your balance went up. But adjusted for 3% annual inflation, the purchasing power of that $78,000 in today's dollars is actually around $32,000. You started with $50,000 worth of purchasing power and ended with $32,000 worth. You lost ground significantly. Option B, you invested in a broad market index fund earning the historical average of 10% annually. After 30 years, your $50,000 becomes roughly $872,000. $872,000 versus $78,000. Same starting amount, same 30 years, just different choices about where the money lives. I want to acknowledge that these are average returns and nothing is guaranteed. Markets have bad stretches. Real results vary, but the direction of the difference is real and consistent, and the magnitude over long time periods is genuinely this dramatic. Okay, I know what some people are thinking right now, and I want to address it directly. What about having money saved for emergencies? You said emergency funds matter. Isn't that keeping money in savings? Yes, absolutely. The emergency fund is real and important, and I've talked about it in previous videos, but here's the distinction that matters. The emergency fund is a specific amount of money, 3 to 6 months of living expenses, kept in savings for a specific purpose. It's insurance. It's a tool with a defined job. Its job is to make sure that an unexpected crisis doesn't blow up your financial life. That money is not supposed to be invested because it needs to be accessible immediately, and it needs to not be subject to market fluctuations. If the market drops 30% right when your car dies and you need the money, you don't want your emergency fund to have dropped 30% along with it. So yes, keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high yield savings account. That money is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Everything above that amount, near any savings beyond the emergency fund, has no business sitting in a savings account. It should be working. It should be invested. It should be compounding toward your actual financial future. The mistake isn't having a savings account. The mistake is treating a savings account as a wealth building vehicle for money that should be invested. Okay, so beyond the math, there's a psychological component to this that I think is worth talking about because it explains why people stay stuck in savings mode even when they intellectually understand they should be investing. Saving feels safe. Investing feels scary. When money is sitting in a savings account, the number only goes up. It's predictable. It's stable. It doesn't give you a heart attack when you check it. When money is invested, it goes up and it goes down. Sometimes it goes down a lot. And that volatility, even when you understand intellectually that it's temporary, creates a real emotional response that savings accounts simply don't create. And so people stay in savings mode because it feels better even when it's producing worse outcomes. The comfort of the stable number outweighs the discomfort of the volatile one, even when the volatile one is dramatically better for their long-term financial health. This is one of the places where the gap between knowing the right thing and doing the right thing is most visible in personal finance. Almost everyone knows they should be investing. Almost everyone has heard about index funds and compound interest and all of it. But the emotional comfort of the savings account keeps a lot of people there way longer than makes any mathematical sense. Okay, so we've talked a lot about what not to do. Let me be really clear and specific about what to do instead. Step 1, build your emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a high yield savings account. This is the right use of a savings account. Do this first and keep it there permanently. Step 2, any money beyond that emergency fund needs to be invested. Not in a year when you feel ready, not after you've done more research. Now, because every month that money sits in a savings account instead of being invested is a month of compounding you can never get back. Step 3, the investment vehicle matters less than actually doing it. A simple broad market index fund in whatever account makes sense for your situation. A 401k, a Roth IRA, a regular brokerage account is almost certainly better than anything sitting in savings beyond your emergency fund. Step 4, automate it. Set up the automatic transfer so the money moves to investments without requiring a decision every month. Because every time it requires a decision, the savings account will win on emotional comfort grounds, even when the investment account is the obviously better choice. Here's something I want to be really honest about because I think it goes unsaid a lot. Being a great saver without being an investor is actually a personality risk. What I mean by that is the same discipline and caution that makes someone a great saver can also make it really hard to make the mental shift to investing. because investing requires accepting risk and uncertainty in a way that saving doesn't. And people who are naturally disciplined and cautious often struggle with that transition. They want to feel ready. They want to understand everything perfectly before committing money. They want to wait until the market conditions seem right. They want to feel certain. And the problem is that certainty never fully arrives. The market is always doing something slightly concerning. There's always a reason to wait a little longer. And the saver who's waiting to feel ready can spend years, sometimes decades, accumulating money in a savings account while inflation quietly eats away at their purchasing power. The thing you have to accept about investing, that savers in particular struggle to accept, is that uncertainty is the price of the return. The reason investing produces dramatically better long-term results than saving is precisely because it involves risk that savings accounts don't. The volatility is not a bug. It's the feature. It's the